Greetings, my friend, and welcome to the next move of the week here on the Red Delta Project YouTube channel. I'm Matt Schifferly, and this week's move of the week is the coveted lying leg raise, a simple technique that's kind of gone out of favor in the abdominal and core training community, but I believe we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater because it has one of the most essential lessons and keys to building much stronger abs. So like many progressive calisthenics exercises, lying leg raises don't really require any fancy or special equipment, but there's a lot of variety and versatility to it, provided we avoid one of the most common mistakes that is rampant within our fitness culture. And that mistake is the old-fashioned technique of keeping your hands under the hips while doing the lying leg raise exercise, often due to soreness and pain in the lower back. Now, having your hands underneath your hips isn't bad. It's not like it's dangerous or anything, but it is seriously reducing the effectiveness of the exercise. And that's because your abdominal muscles don't cross your hip joint, which means your abs don't do this. Instead, they are responsible for your pelvic tilt, essentially scooping your hips upwards towards your front. And when we're doing leg raises, the goal is not to actually lift your legs. The goal is to control and modulate that pelvic tilt with the abdominals. So if we're doing that with our hands, well, we're just taking the abs largely right out of the picture. It's like doing dumbbell curls and thinking, oh, gee, if I use the other arm, it's a heck of a lot easier. Sure it is, but you're also negating the whole point of the exercise. But nonetheless, I get it because it's like, yeah, but I got this pain in my lower back. So how do I just endure the lower back pain? No. See, leg raises, along with a lot of core exercises, is unique because when it comes to overloading a muscle in a strength training exercise, typically if we're overloading the muscle in question, we can't do the exercise anymore. So if I'm doing a progressive push-up and I can't generate enough tension in the muscle, I either use really bad form or I can't do it at all. But with a lot of core exercises, leg raises included, we can have very much an overloaded abdominal section and still be able to do the exercise just fine with other associated muscles like our hip flexors. So when we feel that pulling, that's because the psoas muscle, which has 78 attachment points into the lumbar region, is doing a lot of the work, as it should, but it's not being balanced out by the amount of tension in your abdominals to support your lumbar spine. So you're still able to do the exercise, but the abs are not providing that structural stability, and that's why you have that pain in the lower back, and therefore the solution is obvious. If you're overloading your lumbar region or your abs, and you have to put your hands underneath, it's much more effective to just reduce the resistance of the exercise, which means bend your knees. When you do this with leg raises, you're not only reducing the resistance, you're also shortening the range of motion. So it's better to have the hands down by your side, head is relaxed, and when we contract our abdominals and tilt that pelvic tilt upwards, now we can have plenty of supportive tension in the abdominals, and we can adjust the resistance by extending outwards. It's okay if your lumbar or lower back arches up, as long as you have tension in your abs, that's still going to provide support. So it's not bad if you're lifting your lower back. In fact, I prefer it. You just got to make sure you keep that tension in the abs, not so much range of motion, but range of tension, as I like to say. Unfortunately, poor tension control in the abdominals is very common these days, even with people who can do seemingly great things with core workouts. And it's like, I can hold a plank for 5 minutes. It's like, yeah, but still the abdominal activation is low, which means the exercise is never going to be very effective. And that's why I always start clients off not with leg raises, but dead bugs. It's an overcoming isometric where I'm pressing my forearms into my thighs, thighs into my forearms, and I'm getting everything on my flexion chain working. Not just my abs, but my hip flexors and my quadriceps. And then once they can hold that tension, we'll move into like a hollow body hold. Again, breathing smoothly keeping the tension along the entire front of the body. And then once we can do that, then we'll move into dynamic stuff with the leg raises, with the knees bent, moving on to straighter and straighter until they can lift their legs and their tailbone up, keeping the abdominals tense the entire time for typically sets of 10 to 20 reps. It's also very beneficial to make sure that your whole back is fully engaged while doing this exercise. Squeezing the shoulder blades and the lats tight. So I'm squeezing the floor, keep the shoulders packed down, and then you'll have much more supportive tension in your entire body rather than just your lumbar spine. And yes, that will make the exercise harder, which is always a good thing. So like many progressive calisthenics exercises, the lying leg raise has a lot of potential and a lot of value, provided you don't sweep some of those important details under the rug. And one of the best ways to do that is to regress the exercise to something that you think is a little almost too easy for you, and then build it back up, focusing on those details. I put a micro workout down below in the description, as well as a quick little warm-up, including that dud bug exercise, so that way we can really dial in this exercise and get you the most out of it. If you want to learn more about this, check out my latest book, one of my latest books rather, Progressive and Weighted Calisthenics. That's also down below in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck in your workouts this week. Be fit and live free.